Hey everyone, Graham Couch here from the Lansing State Journal, along with my Detroit Free Press colleague Chris Solari.
And Sean wins. Oh, that's not Sean.
That fine gentleman behind us here as well. After Michigan State 76-56 win over Illinois here at Breslin Center, certainly I thought, Chris, this was the most complete they've looked, the most cohesive they've looked. They have not been as connected as this since last year, and a lot of the parts that had been sort of tantalizing and as maddening as they were promising sort of came together. You see it with Marcus Bingham, you see it with Gabe Brown hitting shots, you see it with Aaron Henry, and obviously the two big guns, and Cassius Winston and Xavier Tillman.
And you saw it in little areas like the ball movement with Foster Lawyer and Kyle Arms and Xavier Tillman in one sequence, moving the ball
they look together.
In a three-man game.
Yep.
I mean, there were things that you haven't seen this team do in long stretches that they were able to do. Particularly, I thought there was about a 10-minute stretch in that first half where they probably played their most cohesive. I even asked Aaron Henry about it, and he said there was the second half stretch where I think they went on a 15-3 run where they were hitting shot after shot and making stop after stop. To be fair, Illinois was
cold,
about as good a shooter as this dude, and really cold, ice cold.
Yeah.
Some of that was the length that I think Michigan State had on their defensive side that really bothered them inside early, and I do think that combination of Henry and Brown outside gave their guards some fits on the perimeter early, and then they just got in their head a little bit.
And it's not a great Illinois shooting team. This is, in Illinois, you talk about a maddening team. You just look at the talent they have. There are some pieces there. You go, wow, they ought to be better than this, but they don't have a shooter. Why they don't have a shooter on that roster is a whole other issue. And they have guys, who can shoot, and he's a very good player, but he could only carry them so far. Marcus Bingham tonight was somebody who we have not seen him be this impactful yet, and to do it against Kofi Cockburn, who's 7 foot 290?
Yeah, Coburn's maybe 290, maybe north of that.
70 pounds at least.
Yeah.
He is, and
that was probably the first time this year that Kofi Cockburn had his shot is disrupted, and it really got in his head. I mean, he struggled all night trying to find the right angles around Bingham. Bingham, I thought, used both the leverage and his length to get in that shooting lane. And he was positionally really good rebounding, he's given up about 100 pounds almost to the guy. He's still able to scrap in there and just use his arms and a good grip strength to rip the ball away.
And Brad Underwood even said it. Coburn was struggling with the length, and he did a great job of not leaving his feet. It was just his natural length. And I was talking to Aaron Henry about him afterwards, talking about Bingham, and he just said, this is the guy who has the most pro potential on the team for this reason. And I mean, it is stuff you cannot teach, and as he's figuring that out, he talked about the strength in his legs being different, trusting his leverage. Those are things. His legs may still look pretty spindly, but they are stronger than they were a year ago. That's not something he would have been able to do. That we've seen some decent edge from him, but we have not seen him rebound like this or defend like this. 5 blocks, 12 rebounds. That's a big step. I thought Gabe Brown was. They need him to be a shooter. He hit 2 threes in the second half when Illinois was desperately trying to hang on. You saw a little of that Morris Peterson comparison, some of those sort of sweet shots.
Yeah, he was going to the basket aggressively. He wasn't converting. Sometimes he was getting bumped and knocked to the ground. Sometimes he was causing the contact, and I think he got called for 1 charge.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird officiated game in a lot of different ways, I think, on both sides. But I thought Brown was aggressive in looking for a shot, which they need him to be. But the other star to me tonight was Xavier Tillman. I thought the job that Tillman did on Georgie.
Good luck pronouncing that. I can't even pronounce Kofi's last name.
There's a reason that we have this guy in here, and these are the kind of blocking dummies that the big men use in a lot of their drills to try and simulate what those big guys are. And those 2 big guys in Kofi and Georgie are big dudes. And
Georgie lost.
Tillman really used his length, I thought, not just vertically. I think he had 4 blocks, but he had 1 steal. But the deflections that he had in the passing lanes were a result, after talking to him, of studying film, understanding Georgie's tendencies of playing that high-low game with Kofi Cockburn, and I mean, he was playing pinball with some of those passes going down in the post and just knocking them away.
When we talk about cerebral players, it's not just a guy, and he had 6 assists. He was real good playing out of the high post and a lot of things, and he was
sick.
He was ill, and he was terrific finishing around the rim. There are other things one thing I love that gets unnoticed about Tillman tonight is when Georgie is struggling with confidence. He hit some hooks inside, but he was really, he couldn't hit a free throw. His 3-point shot after Tillman hit one that was wide open was, barely hit Drew Iron off the side of the rim. And Tillman recognized this, and it was baiting him. It was insulting him. He stopped guarding him the way he was. He gave him room to shoot. He dared him. It was, that's the sort of mind game you play with a guy to the point that he's, technically, I'm supposed to take that shot, but I can't make it today. Tillman recognized it. I love that sort of stuff. You don't see that from people. And Cassius Winston was, he was just, Cassius
I can't believe we made it this far without talking about Cassius.
You take it for granted a lot.
Yeah, I think, obviously coming off the knee injury, I thought he looked a lot springier in that first 5-minute stretch that we were talking about earlier. He was attacking the basket. He was hitting shots. There was a three that he had in the first half off a quick flip from Tillman, and he rose and fired. Both the shot and his lift were quicker than I've seen him even a year ago when he started to have the tendonitis in his knees. And that's what Izzo said, is after the game, he said, you played through the tendonitis, that was worse than his bone bruise. He goes out and puts 21 and 6 assists out there.
He was in total control of the game.
Total
He really was. He shot the ball well. Some of his layups are just spectacular. Yeah. And he talked about how he's starting to learn these guys and how connected they were. And I think, look, feel-good home games happen, but this one had the feel of it to something where they started to discover something that looked like the team we've been waiting to. I wanted to get into one more thing to you. Alumni Izzone.
Yeah.
Alumni Izzone has now covered the Vegas spread in 6 straight games, 4 of them by 10 or more points. It is a noticeable difference with the decibel than when the young kids are there. And I'm not saying that, look, these guys do it once a year. They get all sauced up before the game. I'm not saying they could do it every night, but
many of these people remember 25 years ago when this was a treat and not the norm.
And I'm not saying you should do it, but maybe you find a way. Ohio State, the finale, you take the tickets the students have, you tear them up, and you say, you say, Old Zone, come on back, because it made a difference. I thought it made a difference out of the gate and the energy, and Michigan State never lost control of the game. So, well, complete coverage at freep.com, lsj.com, greenandwhite.com. Thanks for watching.